Imagine standing in the middle of a scorching desert where the summer temperature hits a staggering 50 degrees Celsius. The ground beneath your feet radiates heat like an open furnace, and the air is so dry it feels like inhaling fire. Yet, if you stepped inside a massive clay dome nearby, you would instantly feel an icy breeze. Over 2,000 years ago, without a single watt of electricity, ancient Persian engineers did what sounds absolutely impossible. They manufactured and stored thousands of tons of ice in one of the hottest places on Earth. They didn't have access to modern compressors, wires, or chemical refrigerants. Instead, they managed to outsmart the laws of nature using nothing but geometry, clever materials, and the cold void of outer space. While the rest of the ancient world had no concept of thermodynamics, these desert builders perfected a passive cooling ecosystem that was centuries ahead of its time. But the most surprising part isn't just how they kept the ice frozen through the scorching summer. It's how they managed to freeze water when the air temperature never even dropped below zero. The secret of desert ice making didn't start inside their massive structures, but out in the open air. To get ice where it shouldn't exist, engineers dug long, very shallow trenches in the desert floor. On the south side of these channels, they built massive 8-meter-tall walls of mud brick to cast a permanent, dense shadow over the water during the day. This kept the shallow channels completely shielded from the brutal sun. But shielding water from the sun isn't enough to freeze it. The real magic happened after sunset through a phenomenon known as nocturnal radiative cooling. Under clear desert skies and low humidity, outer space acts as a colossal icy heat sink. Once the sun set, the shallow water began intensely radiating its accumulated heat directly back into the atmosphere in the form of infrared radiation. Because the desert air holds almost no moisture to trap this warmth, the thermal energy escaped directly into the cosmos. This caused the surface of the water to lose heat at an unbelievable speed. Even when the surrounding air temperature stayed above freezing at around 3 or 4 degrees Celsius, the rapid loss of radiation allowed solid sheets of ice to form overnight. Every morning, long before the sun could rise and destroy their work, hundreds of laborers rushed to chip away the newly formed ice sheets. They transported these blocks into a colossal structure called a yakchal, which literally translates to ice pit. Externally, the yakchal looked like a giant mud beehive rising up to 20 meters above the desert floor. The walls of these structures were built using a legendary ancient mortar called sarouge, a complex mixture of sand, clay, lime, ash, goat hair, and egg whites. Once dried, sarouge became waterproof, highly durable, and served as an incredibly powerful thermal insulator that blocked the desert heat. Deep inside the yakchal, the ice was dropped into a massive underground bowl excavated up to 20 meters deep. By placing the ice far below the surface, the Persians utilized thermal inertia, as the deep soil remains at a stable, low temperature year-round, acting as a natural thermostat. To keep the ice blocks from fusing into a single, unmovable monolith, workers carefully packed the layers with dry reeds, straw, and sawdust, trapping microscopic air bubbles that provided further insulation. But even with insulation, any warm air that managed to seep inside had to be managed. To solve this, the conical geometry of the dome worked in perfect harmony with the laws of convection. Since warm air is less dense, it naturally rose to the very top of the dome and escaped through a narrow vent at the peak, far away from the ice at the bottom. Furthermore, the yakchals were connected to tall stone towers called wind catchers or bodgears. These towers captured fast-moving, cooler breezes high in the sky and funneled them downward. When this dry wind passed over cold water channels connected to underground aqueducts called qanats, rapid evaporation occurred. This evaporative cooling plummeted the air temperature, creating a continuous draft of heavy, chilled air that sank to wrap the ice. This remarkable system kept thousands of tons of ice perfectly frozen right through the hottest summer months. The ice wasn't just a luxury for the royal elite to enjoy falude, the world's oldest frozen dessert. It was a critical, life-saving infrastructure used for preserving food, saving medicine, and cooling fevers in a brutal climate. While modern cities rely on massive, energy-hungry grids that would collapse into chaos within hours without electricity, ancient Persians built an eco-friendly system that operated purely on the fundamental laws of physics. By decoding nature instead of fighting it, they proved that true genius lies in finding elegant solutions right where we are used to throwing money and kilowatts. If you want to discover more forgotten engineering masterpieces that could help us build a more sustainable future, be sure to subscribe to Top Facts English.